Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back my channel. In this video, I will share with you some information about the series of Puma Punku in Bolivia. And now, let's explore together.
Imagine a place where history as we know it completely breaks down. We are not looking at crude blocks stacked by primitive hands. We are staring at geometric perfection that rivals modern engineering. These are the H blocks of Puma Punku, and according to mainstream science, they simply shouldn't exist. Located in the desolate Bolivian highlands, at an altitude of 13,000 feet, the air is thin, and the mystery is suffocating. How did a civilization without the wheel, without writing, and without steel, create structures that we would struggle to replicate today using diamond-tipped drills and laser guides? Look closely at this surface. It is smooth as glass. The corners are not just chalk, they are dangerous. This isn't masonry, this is machining. But who were the machinists? And more importantly, where did their advanced technology vanish to? The silence of these stones screams a terrifying question. Welcome to the site that makes archaeologists tremble. Welcome to the enigma of Puma Punku. Before we unravel the how, we must understand the where. But be warned, the more we dig, the less sense it makes. Are you ready to question everything you've been taught about human history? Let's establish the framework. We are in Tiahuanaco, western Bolivia. Carbon dating suggests this site was at its peak around 600 AD. Historians tell us the Aymara people built this. They were masters of agriculture. Yes, but stone cutting? That is an entirely different story that doesn't fit the narrative. The official explanation is simple: copper chisels and stone hammers. They say thousands of Wokos pounded these rocks for decades. It sounds plausible until you look at the material. These stones are andesite and red sandstone. Andesite is incredibly hard, rich in silica. Copper is soft, it would bend on impact. Try to visualize the logistics. We are talking about blocks weighing up to 130 tons. That is the weight of 20 African elephants, and they moved these monsters from a quarry over 10 kilometers away. No trees grow here for rollers. No wheel was invented. How did they move? This brings us to our first major curiosity loop. If they dragged them, there would be drag marks. There are none. If they rolled them, there would be evidence of ramps. There is none. It is as if these massive slabs were simply placed here from the sky. But that's just the beginning. Let's dive into the first mini-art, the mystery of the cuts. Look at these inner corners. They are perfect 90-degree angles. To achieve this with a stone hammer is physically impossible. You need a tool with a rigid, flat edge. You need precision milling. Yet, no metal tools were found. Christopher Dunn, an expert engineer, examined these cuts. He stated that even with modern lasers, recreating these inner cuts would be a nightmare. The surface is perfectly flat. If you place a straight edge on it, no light shines through. This is machine-grade tolerance, sitting in the mud of antiquity. But here is the twist. It's not just about the straight lines. It's about the drill holes. Scattered across the ruins are tiny, equidistant holes. They are perfectly circular and go deep into the rock. How do you drill into andesite without a diamond bit? The friction alone would destroy primitive tools. Some archaeologists suggest they used a mix of sand and water with copper tubes to slowly grind the stone. An experiment showed this could bore a few millimeters in hours. But Puma Punku has thousands of these holes. The sheer time required for this method exceeds the lifespan of the civilization itself. Now, we move to the second art, the modular construction. This is where it gets eerie. The H blocks are not unique sculptures. They are standardized prefabs. They are identical in dimension. This suggests mass production. They were designed to interlock like a giant, ancient Lego set. This implies blueprints. This implies a centralized plan and strict quality control. If one block was off by a millimeter, the whole wall would fail. Did the Aymara possess a system of measurement so precise it rivals our own ISO standards? Or are we looking at the work of someone else? Consider the clamps. Indentations in the stones show where metal clamps were once poured to hold the massive blocks together. Analysis of the trace metals reveals alloys of arsenic, bronze, and nickel. Nickel is difficult to smelt and requires extremely high temperatures. Who taught them this metallurgy? Arc 3. The catastrophe. The site today is a mess. Huge slabs are tossed around like toys. It looks like an explosion occurred here. Some theorists propose a cataclysmic earthquake or a flood, but the damage pattern is strange. It is violent, chaotic, and absolute. Is it possible that Puma Punku was destroyed intentionally? Was this a factory or a power plant that overloaded? The scatter nature of the blocks suggests a force pushing outward from the center. This wasn't just time eroding the site. Something smashed it to pieces. Let's pause the chaos for a moment. But wait, here is an open loop for you. If this place was destroyed thousands of years ago, why do the local legends speak of gods coming down in ships of fire? We will get to the star connection soon. But first, look at the biology. Skeletons found in the vicinity show elongated skulls. While cranial deformation was a practice, some skulls have cranial volume significantly larger than modern humans. Genetic testing on similar skulls in Peru has shown anomalies. Were the builders even fully human? The stone faces carved here look different. Back to the stones. A controversial theory suggests geopolymer concrete. Joseph Davidovits proposed they didn't cut the stones, they cast them. They ground the rock, mixed it with a binder, and poured it into molds. This explains the smoothness and the complex shapes. It is an elegant solution, but it fails to explain one thing: the magnetic anomalies. Some of these stones are highly magnetic, while others are not, in a pattern that seems intentional. You cannot cast magnetism into a rock pattern easily. It implies a functional purpose. We are now deep in the mystery. We have impossible cuts, magnetic stones, and modular prefabs. The deeper we go, the more Puma Punku looks less like a temple and more like a machine. But a machine for what? Energy generation, communication, or something worse? Take a breath, listen to the wind howling through the Andes. It has been blowing like this for millennia. The site is silent now, stripped of its gold, its metal, and its people. All that remains is the skeleton of a giant. In this breeding space, ask yourself, why here? Why build at such high altitude where crops fail and oxygen is scarce? Unless the location itself was the key. Maybe the altitude wasn't a hindrance, maybe it was a requirement for their technology. We often underestimate our ancestors, but at Puma Punku, the gap between what we see and what we can explain is too wide. We are missing a chapter in the history book, a chapter that might rewrite everything we know about civilization. Now, we begin to climb to the climax. The evidence becomes undeniable. Let's look at the Gate of the Sun. It is cut from a single piece of stone. The carvings on it are not just art, they are a calendar. But not a calendar for Earth's current orbit. Arthur Poznansky studied the alignment of the temple. He argued that the solstices marked on the stones align with the sky as it was 15,000 years ago, not 1500. This would push the date of Puma Punku back to the end of the Ice Age. If Poznansky is right, this site predates Mesopotamia, Egypt, and China. It would be the oldest civilization on Earth, a civilization that possessed advanced technology and then vanished in a global cataclysm. The Young Dryas impact theory fits this timeline perfectly. This brings us to the most controversial evidence, the Viracocha connection. The central figure on the gate is Viracocha, the creator god. Legends say he rose from Lake Titicaca, created giants to build these walls, and then destroyed them when they displeased him. Are these myths just stories, or are they distorted memories of a real event? Giants could be a metaphor for heavy machinery. Ships of fire could be advanced transport. We interpret ancient art through our modern eyes. But what if we are looking at technical schematics? Look at the H blocks again. Engineers have noticed they resemble dielectric resonators used in microwave technology. If arranged in a pattern, could they generate or channel energy? It sounds like science fiction, but the precision supports a functional, not decorative, purpose. The main climax is here. We are left with two possibilities. Either the Aymara people were savants of stone, possessing techniques we have completely forgotten, or they inherited these ruins from someone else, someone who came before, someone who was not from here. The precision is the smoking gun. You do not accidentally make a perfect right angle in hard rock. You do not accidentally drill equidistant holes. Intention is carved into every millimeter of Puma Punku. It is a message in a bottle, waiting for us to read it. And then, silence. Whatever built this, left, or was wiped out. The unfinished stones at the quarry suggest work stopped abruptly. Tools were dropped, plans were abandoned. It was an apocalypse in the middle of a construction project. As we reflect, we must humble ourselves. We think we are the pinnacle of evolution. We think our skyscrapers and computers are unique. But Puma Punku laughs at our arrogance. It stands as proof that we might just be the survivors of a greater past. The stones do not lie, but they do not speak clearly either. They remain an impossible puzzle, a Rorschach test for history. Do you see primitive determination, or do you see advanced intervention? The answer defines who we are. Maybe the answer isn't in the stones, but in what they represent. The human drive to create the impossible, or perhaps the terrifying realization that we are not the first masters of this planet. And we likely won't be the last. Puma Punku remains the Everest of archaeology, unconquered, unexplained, until we find the tools, or the bodies. We are just guessing in the dark. But one thing is certain. Ancient history was far more complex than we give it credit for. If you ever stand in the Bolivian highlands, run your hand over the cold stone, feel the impossible smoothness, and ask yourself, who are they? The wind might just whisper the answer, if you listen closely enough. But Puma Punku is not the only place where stones defy logic. Across the ocean, in Egypt, and in Japan, similar anomalies exist. Are they connected? Is there a global grid of lost technology waiting to be reactivated? Join us next time as we travel to the submerged ruins of Yonaguni. The mystery continues. Don't forget to like and subscribe to uncover the truth with us. The past is never dead, it's just waiting.